Look at that. We're live.
I think that's kind of like a church music.
I know. I wish the music was different, but it's cool. So for anyone who doesn't know or anyone who can't tell, we're using Restream. We're using their in-browser live studio. So, I mean, you can add things. Yeah, if you pay the money, you can. But for now, all we can do is use the generated ones that they have. So, gave it a minute. We're testing it out. I mean, this is a pretty cool little setup, I think. Makes it super easy to get us both in here. It's a really simple setup. Whereas, OBS, I tend to have issues getting it all right every single time, as other episodes have proven. So, figured to give it a go. But welcome back, everybody. For some people,
definitely lagging though. FYI, I'm watching the stream and like your whatever happens in the previews happening there too.
Well, yeah. What are you gonna do?
All right, it's on you.
This is what it is. People aren't here for our faces. Not. People are here for our sensual voices.
As long as they can hear it. Yeah, as long as you can hear it.
Yeah. So some of you may be returning from the Twitch and the YouTube channel, but we're broadcasting everywhere. We're in Trovo, DLive, our Facebook page. We're on what was the other one? Oh, Periscope. We're Periscope too. So we are like live every place that Restream would let me put it that wasn't a foreign streaming like site. So we're live everywhere. Exactly. So yeah, we're live everywhere. We're live at a lot more places than we have been in the past. For those of you who don't know, my name is Josh, aka Jay Frosty. With me, as always, is my brother Matt, aka Technique. We are the hosting duo for the W Key podcast, this little podcast internet gaming show that we like to put on. Normally we go live every other Monday, but I spent 2 hours outside in the 30-degree weather waiting to get a COVID test last night.
Today was Monday since we're doing this. I can't believe it's only Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah, you got to get a whole day back, I guess. So yeah, it's normally we do it. Monday. Couldn't do it yesterday because I spent a lot of time freezing my ass off. But that's where we're at now. So we're doing it tonight. This shouldn't impact the episode as a whole. The episode should still drop Thursday morning. It used to be Wednesdays, but now it won't. Especially tonight, it won't be a Wednesday. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. Hopefully we get some new people to jump in, some people we haven't seen before on some of these other platforms.
See what happens. That's all I can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and so I'll give you a little bit of background on why it kind of spurred me to do this. Devin Nash, right? Have you seen some of his videos? Mm-hmm. So if you're a follower of the show, and our last episode we really hammered on Twitch and their whole Monster Cat like buy affiliate program essentially, and him and many other prominent commentary streamer commentary channels basically put out a thing saying like affiliate is next to nothing at this point. It actually does you more harm than good, because when you do sign an affiliate contract with them, you technically lose the ability to do things like this, like Restream. And there's a lot of people out there
partner restrictions, but you're basically looked at as just expendable. So it's kind of tough that they give you these strict restrictions that are pretty high, but they also view as so low.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was basically saying like, hey, like if you're getting into this, if you're trying to make content, live stream, like you have a show or a podcast, he's like, why not? Like, because the general thought among most stream coaches, I use that word very loosely, the stream advice givers, I guess is a better thing, is they say don't restream because you dilute the brand. You dilute your brand. You should basically focus on one channel, make it big there, or try to at least. And he's like, that's not even a thing. He's like, you want to get out there, you want to make this a living, content creation, cast the net wide and far. And I was like, you know what? That is true. And we were using live restream to go to Twitch and YouTube. But and I hadn't really set up any of the other accounts. But now I was like, hell, go Trovo, go DLive, we'll go Periscope, we'll go
some
Facebook.
People change their mind. In the early stages, people are like, oh no, devote yourself to one channel and stick to it. But I think people are starting to kind of see now that I guess these platforms don't really give a two shits about the little guy. They only care about the big money makers on their channel. So everyone's like, now they're kind of changing their minds. Like, screw it, just cast your net out there. They don't care about you, so why should you care about them? Just try it everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I think that is pretty obvious, especially with Twitch's most recent maneuver. So yeah, I mean, so here we are. We're multi-streaming to a whole bunch of different platforms. Not like we're out here looking to get famous and make a living off this, but if that happens, like, hey, cool. So, if someone's on Trovo, DLive, and they stumble upon us and they love us and they want to, bring some more people in.
Love us.
Jesus. I just heard a loud bang in the room into the bedroom. So I think the cat is doing fun things. I heard a loud bang and I heard cat go, oh no. So it's a lot of fun here in my apartment. Yeah. So long story short, I'll get through all this. Basically, we're hitting everywhere. We're dropping lines in every pool, every pond, hoping to catch some fish in all of those different ponds. If you guys are enjoying what you see, if you're liking the content, don't forget to follow us on social media. Most of our social media accounts are all at W_key_podcast. And then you can also head over to our Podchaser page. So podchaser.com. Search W Key Podcast. They're like the IMDb of podcasts. So you can get over there, drop us a rating, like us, review us. If that's something you're into, that always is super helpful for us. But you can also just tell somebody, tell a friend, tell a family member. You watch this or you listen to the podcast on whatever podcast app you like to use. And, you say, hey, I think I know some people who'd like this. Shoot that to them. Let them know. Hey, this is a cool little podcast I listen to. You might like it. Word of mouth is super huge as far as growing the listening base, and that's always something we really appreciate. So, really, any of that stuff, even if you don't do any of that stuff, and all you do is sit here and watch us every other Monday, that's fine too. Honestly, we're totally okay with that.
Agree.
But some of those other things, would be nice too. Christmas is right around the corner. Maybe a present, present or two. Hey,
podcast.
Exactly. And then that gives us the gift of more people to touch with our voices. I mean, what? So we're gonna hop into it. I've been babbling enough. Big week or shaping up to be a big week, really. Obviously the consoles have been out and that's been a big portion of what we've talked about and what a lot of people have been talking about lately. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on this week too. It's a pretty good little chunk of info, I would say. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about, really. One really big thing and then a bunch of kind of smaller things. A few of those smaller things could potentially be bigger in the near future, but we'll just have to wait to see how those play out. First though, we're going to start off with a new tradition. We're 3 weeks into it. This year. God, I messed it up. God damn it. This week in gaming. So, started this about 2 weeks ago. So this will be the third time we've done it. This week in gaming, we just take a look back at the notable events that have happened in gaming in this week. We're going real far back on this first one. 32 years ago. Ninja Gaiden, however you pronounce it, came out in Japan on the original NES.
That is Old school.
That's that is what, 6 months? I was born in April. April. Jesus
Jeez, are you
Christ,
okay,
I'm having a
bud?
really hard time tonight. I was born in
You
August.
tested your brain too much, and now you
I
can't.
guess, yeah. Um, so I was born in August. So yeah, August, September, October, November, December. Uh, yeah, like almost 4 months. So yeah, I was 4 months old when this came out. Little did they know I was gonna love Ninja Gaiden when it came out on the
Right.
PlayStation.
Right, I thought PlayStation. I thought we played on the Xbox.
Or whatever, what Xbox,
I think
PlayStation.
Xbox. Well, that's why I
Yeah.
remember at least. But I
Yeah.
think Jesse had it first, maybe, and I just loved it.
I remember we got a demo of it in like the Game Informer
Oh god, yeah.
magazine, and we played that demo a zillion times.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh fuck. And then we actually broke down and asked for the game, because that was back in the day when we didn't have any of our own money to buy games. We had to request them from our parents. Yeah.
Games.
So 32 years ago, that's old. I mean, that's as old as I am.
Older than
That's
me.
older than probably a lot of people who may listen to this show. And yeah, and it's a fantastic, the newer game. I've never played the older game.
Yeah.
But all the newer games have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the hardest bosses of any game I've ever played is in the Xbox version of Ninja Gaiden. The purple alien looking lady.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, hands down one of the hardest bosses I've ever played in any game that I've played. So I guess I will temper that with I've never played any of the Dark Souls games.
I would ask a Dark Souls player if they played
Ninja
Gaiden, because so far I haven't played Dark Souls either. I would have to say Ninja Gaiden is probably the hardest game I've played out there. So I played. I know Dark Souls was like a free on Xbox at one point in time. I downloaded it, tried it for a little bit, but just didn't get into it because it was so tough. But
yeah,
I'd like to see what a Dark Souls player who played Ninja Gaiden thinks.
Yeah, I would too. So there's that. 27 years ago, so still pretty old. Doom was released on PC. Doom
still
is I know it's kicking ass like hard today. I mean, but Doom was an interesting game when it came out. This was back when like you had basically like how we have magazine subscriptions. They had like subscriptions for games, and they come on floppy disks, and you put it in your computer. Doom was one of those. Doom was one of the first games to support the myriad of mods that have now become commonplace in a lot of games. Like they basically gave the code to the community. Like they gave the game code to the community, said, hey, here you go, run it, like do whatever you want with it. And there's been so many mods that have come out for it. And it's, that kind of spurred the whole, modding player base, the games that are allowed to be mod, like Skyrim. And that's not the only one, but it's the first one that came to mind. So it's crazy. 27 years ago. It's another old one. So, speaking of Elder Scrolls, 13 years ago today, the expansion, the Shivering Isles for Oblivion, came out.
Wasn't a bad one. I remember that.
No, it was good. The Knights of the Nine and the Shivering Isles were
Knights of the Nine,
the two big expansions.
For me. I love Knights of the Nine. That was great.
Knights of the Nine was a fantastic expansion. Those two expansions on their own in general are some of the better expansions I've ever played in a game, especially, an RPG of that caliber. I mean, obviously Skyrim's had some expansions, and whatchamacallit, like Elder Scrolls Online has had some expansions to include some of that stuff. But I mean, none of them really had the content and the time gameplay wise that these two, I mean, these two like together I had like 40 hours of gameplay probably.
Mini game.
And Knights of the Nine, you got this dope ass set of armor and a sword, just absolutely murdered people.
I think that's why I liked it so much. The story's pretty solid, but then you just get you want expansions to add new goodies to the game, and it did. You got this baller set of armor and a weapon, so it just was what everyone wants in an expansion.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun. So, if you guys want to take a trip back down memory lane, hit up the Oblivion, get. I'm sure you can get an all-in-one pack with all of the expansions. That's pretty standard at this point. And then 3 years ago, I put this on here simply because it's been the bane of our existence in the past. 3 years ago, the Xbox One was gifted with the shit show that is Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. So PUBG for people who know it by short. I know, right?
It was we were playing it and it was coming out on the Xbox.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, and we've been playing it for like 2 years at that point. I feel like. I mean, has it been 5 years since that game came out already?
I feel like 20. I feel like it was out for a year on PC, then it came out on Xbox.
Yeah, maybe. Though that year felt like a lot longer than a year, just because it was so devastating.
Every night for like 5+ hours. That just felt like a long time a year.
I mean, that's when I started streaming. During that whole time, that's when I rebuilt my computer. Decided I wanted to get back into computer gaming, and that's we had been playing a ton of Overwatch before that on the console. We kind of ditched that, built computers, went the computer route, and then look at us. Haven't really turned back at all.
Just kind of kept going from there.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of started both of our kind of streaming sessions, our streaming career. Mine much more short-lived than yours. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think, I mean, hands down, still some of the best gunplay mechanics of any battle royale. But just everything else is just an absolute flaming pile of shit.
I think I only played like that game once on the Xbox too. I only ever tried it. I think I tried it once when I came up to here where I live now to visit John. And I think he had it on his Xbox, and we went out drinking and came back to his place, and I was drunk. Like, oh yeah, let me get on there real quick.
Let's do that. Yeah,
my ass kicked.
Yep. Yeah, I played it once too, and I was like, oh man, there's just so much that goes into it. Like, I didn't think they were going to do a good job at translating the controls on the mouse and keyboard to a controller. They didn't really. So, I mean, they did the best they could, but I didn't think it was all that fantastic. So, but yeah. Oh well. So that wraps up this week in gaming. So I think I find this next thing kind of funny. You're kind of entering two lotteries, essentially. The first lottery is, am I going to be able to get my hands on a PS5? Like, that's the thing. You go to a store, you go online, go shopping. The initial lottery is that first time you search, like, will it come back with the results? 90% of the time, it's a no, because they've been out of stock, like literally 99% of their lifespan so far. But say you get one. The next lottery you are faced with is whether or not you're going to get the loud fan or the quiet fan, because apparently Sony has put two different models of fans in their consoles, and you have no way of knowing. I mean, as one would imagine, no way of knowing which one you get, and you really probably wouldn't even know unless you had one that was the quieter, because you're going to boot it up and you're going to say, oh, it's kind of loud, I guess, but that must be normal. It's like a solid 5 or 6 decibels louder, I think. The quieter version, the quieter fan would, that model I think is like 35 decibels or something like that at full bore, and then the louder one's like 41 or 42.
Well, my question, I guess, to that real quick is, have they done tests to see, like, does the louder one at least keep it cooler than the quiet one? Like, are you at least getting a benefit from having this loud bitch going on, or is it just cools the same but loud AF?
As far as I know, it's cools the same. It's just louder. I'm
not surprised, because I remember way back when we were talking about the next gen consoles in like June, July, how they were expecting shortages of supplies to make these consoles, so they probably ran into a shortage of CPU fans and just had to finagle something. They make some this way that it's a quieter fan, and they probably had to make some other way with some different materials, and it's a louder fan. So I guess I'm not surprised by this at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think based on the pictures that I've seen, I mean, I don't even think it's a material thing. I think they just designed it different. Like, I think they just like halfway through production were like, "Oh, that's kind of loud. Like, let's redesign it because it's all the same amount of blades. It's the same size. It looks to be the same material. It just like instead of like the fans being real like angular, just bumped. Some of they curl, they like curve down, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would have been a supply issue as far as like materials to make the fan. It just seems like they made a design choice halfway through. Obviously, my assumption is that moving forward, all the consoles, once you get to a certain point, all the consoles are going to be made with the quieter version.
Yeah.
Just another reason why you never buy fucking day one consoles.
As much as I'm mad that I haven't been able to get my hands on one, usually there's plenty of issues with day one consoles. So it's for the best if you didn't get a PS5 yet, because I'm sure they'll tweak them, and the ones coming out in the next few months will probably be even better than day one.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, most people never most people, but like the diehard like console snobs never usually buy a day one console because something usually changes within the first year, or they release the slim version. That's it. It's just another way for them to always get your money. They release these big honking things, and then a year down the road they'll release the slim edition, and nothing will change. You'll just have a little smaller footprint, which I think most people want, something that has a smaller footprint, especially when you have that behemoth of a PS5 that's almost the same height as a 32-inch TV.
So yeah, I feel like a lot of people are praying and waiting for some version of that thing.
So yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, I had this conversation with some friends that I work with at the axe throwing place, my other job, and I think they asked like, why are they so sold out? Like, cause some of them know that I do the podcast, and and really the simple answer is, they lied to us. I think really is, they told us all throughout quarantine and everything that the supply chains weren't impacted at all, and I think we all know now that is a crock of shit, and they were, and they it definitely impacted the production of these consoles, because there were shortages at the PS4 and the Xbox One release, but nothing like this. Like, this is a whole new level.
I think they're shortage, but they're also just greedy sons of bitches who are using bots to gobble them up. There's like people, there's like what 2,000 to 3,000 just confirmed units that went to people who are just getting them to resell them. So that's a big chunk of consoles that
they've started canceling those orders.
Could have gotten. Good, fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
give me one.
There's a shortage, but also I feel like just with these times and people realizing how they can resell them for high amounts of money, that they're just getting gobbled up by people using bots.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, it's good luck getting your hands on a console is all I'll say to anybody who has dreams of one.
Kind of looking at it, I follow plenty of Twitter accounts that tell you when they're restocks here, restocks there. And every now and then I'll just browse Twitter and I'll see like an hour ago I missed a chance, and I'm like, oh damn. But then I think to myself, well, you're not gonna get one anyway, so why?
It's
yourself pain.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, I mean, hey, if noise is a really big concern of yours, I mean, because PS4 Pro and the original PS4, when you get that thing cranking, it does kind of sound like a fucking jet engine.
It's kind of loud. I noticed that when it's warmed up, it gets kind of.
And I don't know, and that's the one thing I didn't look up, is if the loud fan is louder than, or even if both fans are louder than
compared to the PS4.
Yeah, now, because I mean, a lot of people even complain about that now. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Take it as you will. We're not here to sway you in any direction. We're just here to give you the info. you can make your choices from there. Hey, you know what else is on happening this week?
The punk of the cyber variety.
Yeah, man, we're going to 2077
It's
finally.
finally happening.
Hopefully,
to be out early this year. Is finally coming out.
I know. So the 10th, so 2 days, comes out on the 10th. I've heard there's already a 43 gig launch day patch for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it has good reviews. People are loving it, but at the same time, there seems to be a decent amount of bugs, and
Yeah,
some people have even described bugs as game ending or game breaking bugs. Which I don't know if that means it just kind of fucks your save file or if it just fucks the entire game itself.
yeah, I don't know.
So it's going to be really interesting to see because you have this great. I mean, I feel like
Because
the entire reason why I kept getting pushed back was because they kept saying we want this to be polished, we want this to be finished product, this and that, blah 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 blah, and now we're getting reports of game destroying bugs,
yeah,
possibly. It's just like, dude, you pushed it back so far, you gave us this promise, and I feel like you're failing on what you were saying you were doing.
and that is very, and that's very uncharacteristic of CD Projekt Red as well.
That too.
Um, which the game is massive. The world is It's I've heard somewhere on the scale of 2 times bigger than the GTA 5 map, and that map's pretty goddamn big. So, so that's a lot of game to code and a lot of game to code to run correctly every single time. You know what I mean? So it's like I can sort of understand it, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, the game was supposed to come out in April. Like you
I
pushed it
understand it too,
back that
but
far, it shouldn't
Mhm.
have, and exactly to your point, what are these game breaking, fatal? Does it corrupt the whole install? Like you have to reinstall the game, and does it just lose all your saved data? Like what exactly, or does it just, force shut down the game right then and there? Like what are these
Yeah,
bugs entail? How severe are they? And these people are getting the review, they're getting to play the version, I think, pre-patch. Like I don't know if the patch gets deployed for them as well. Because
true.
it
The patch will fix every issue that they
because
have.
it is, it is a launch day patch. So my
Yeah,
assumption is they're holding it for launch because they're probably still working on some things, I would imagine,
yeah.
potentially. um
I agree
so
that you would expect these bugs, but I feel like the entire reason it got pushed back is because they were just telling us because they were fixing issues.
yep.
So to have such big issues, like what were did you miss them? Like
Yeah,
what's going on here?
yeah. And I mean, well, and the other thing too is, with the whole Rockstar, you know, slaving fiasco for Red
Yeah,
Dead 2, I think they had to be really cognizant of how many hours they were putting their dev team and the developers and the coders and all the testers under, because they didn't want blowback like Rockstar had. I mean, Rockstar, that was a big deal. I mean, and there was, those internal shifts and there's culture changes that are happening at Rockstar. And, GTA 6 will probably take 10 years to make because of that. And so they probably want to avoid something like that too. So, I think they were being optimistic with all of their earlier targets, but then as work started happening and they were trying to stay within, the confines of a somewhat reasonable work schedule, they started realizing that that wasn't
well,
going to
and
happen.
also like we kind of mentioned in the last episode that since it's been getting delayed so much, it's kind of turning into a next gen
Yeah,
game
that too.
before our eyes. Where before they're saying you're getting this game now, and next gen upgrade might come out next year, but it's not even on their. It wasn't even on the radar. So
Yeah.
the whole fact that they got to make it for 2 brand new consoles is probably taking up plenty of their time, and so they probably glossed over, or not glossed over, but just missed some errors in the different versions. So it sucks. I think they're at this point in time where they're like, we can't delay anymore, so we just gotta send it and see what we can do from there.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, I think any game's going to go better than Anthem did, so you don't really have to worry about being the bottom of the pile.
I don't don't think they're gonna set the bar. The bar's pretty set,
Yeah.
pretty strong already, so you can't go
So
lower than it.
no, you can't. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Oh
This
yeah, for
game has
sure.
looked really good, and I've been very excited about it. I haven't.
The reviews are raving, like 9 out of 10s and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
everyone
There's
says the gameplay and the story and like the choices you have to make and everything like that. They just say it's a masterpiece.
Yep.
Everyone, I don't want to say masterpiece. That's probably a little.
I feel like
That's
I've
a
seen that
little
word,
overboard. I mean, sure,
but
people throw that term out
yeah,
pretty lightly, but I
yeah.
would say, yeah, it's been reviewed very highly from those standpoints.
Just
And
gotta watch out those game-breaking bugs is all.
I know.
No big deal.
And I'm definitely, yeah, I mean, I would say I'm in the market for some solid single player action. Oh, and that actually, I wish I had remembered that. I saw a story recently about an investors meeting or a board meeting at Sony, and they talked about how they're seeing a huge spike in single player games, and it's like
Yeah.
making up X amount of for the market. I wish I would have remembered to put that on because we've talked about this like a bunch. That the fact that single player games are making a resurgence because the multiplayer aspect is fun, but like I mean the whole point of playing games, not the whole point, but one of the reasons I like to play video games is to be immersed in another world. I'm not a huge fan of reading books, so I play video games to get the same kind of situation. Like it's a whole like you're in another world, living another life, doing things, and that's the whole point. And so it's always and the single player market's been really crap for the last few years. So hopefully, I think people are starting to notice it. It starts to turn around a little bit more.
Just a little note on that too. Do you remember that Project Athea that we
Yeah,
talked about? That is
showcase.
now that's now a PS5 exclusive for like the first 2 years
Oh,
before
really?
Xbox can get a chance to get its hands on. So PlayStation is continuing its dominance on this game we don't know yet. We could
Looks good though.
it looks good, so it's just continuous
Yeah.
dominance on what looks to be good single player driven games.
My guess is Microsoft will probably do something similar with Bethesda games. In that case,
Yeah, that could be their answer back. And speaking of Microsoft, Halo Infinite is
yeah,
delayed till fall 2021. So a
I
lot of
know.
people who were jazzed about getting their Xbox for the new Halo, they gotta wait almost a year to
Yeah.
play it. So good luck with that, folks. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. We might get a sweet battle royale.
Yeah, true. I mean, if it's worth it, I guess if they make
Honestly,
it
amazing. I think PUBG has great gun mechanics from like a quote unquote realism standpoint. Yeah. I think Halo's mechanics as a whole, the way you play the game, definitely the cream of the crop rise to the top much easier in a Halo game because there's no sliding. There's bad players in COD can, if they're good at maneuvering, can bad players aiming wise can sort of maneuver themselves out of bad situations with the sliding and the jumping and the running, depending on where they are. Yeah, exactly. So like,
I feel like
if you're bad mechanically from an aiming standpoint, you can still make that work pretty well for you in COD. Whereas like Halo, there's no sprinting, there's no other, you move at the same speed that you're moving at. You have your grenades and then you have your guns. And it's like your skill, your mechanical skill for aiming is really important in that game.
Think you're gonna aim down in a Halo BR? Do you think you'd aim down sights? Because a lot of their guns, there's no aiming. It's just straight like you shoot the reticle. Like, what do you think? You think they're gonna add ADS?
Possibly. I mean,
or just keep it how it is.
They may just keep it how it is.
A BR,
yeah,
where some guns you can't even aim. It's just
sort of like Fortnite.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with Miles about it earlier today. I feel like Halo could do a great BR just because it's like set in a fantasy world, and there's just so much you could do with it. Where COD is trying to be realistic and set in a real world, and there's limitations you can do that doesn't get out of that realism. So
yep,
set in a fantasy world, you can do so many things. We're talking like COD,
you can kind of do like the the that island game, the
Oh,
Island of Nirn or whatever battle royale.
yeah,
You could sort of do something. It would be able to trend more in that
yeah.
direction, and it would be more acceptable because of it
And
being Halo.
yeah, and COD has all these like a lot of they have cars in them that people are
Yep.
kind of like, and Halo has some of the best cars with
Yep.
actual guns on it in the gaming sphere. So you add, I mean, probably be a pain in the ass you get shot by a Scorpion tank or a Banshee, but you could add
Still be
in
fun.
plenty, yeah, you can add plenty of sick cars into a BR that would make things
Well,
very interesting.
and the armor system is built in. Everyone's used to it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you don't have to pick
Like
up any armor. You just have
there's
your shield on,
there's
and that's what it
nothing,
generates.
there you don't have to change much about it. Like, and and that aspect is always something that's complained about. PUBG was always complained about. You had a level 3 vest, you were like a fucking tank. You could take whatever ever hits you wanted. Blackout, if you had a level 3 vest, same idea. Ting 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 ting. It was just this. You just hear that sound over and over again. The same. I wouldn't say the same complaint
You get
necessarily.
shields, like
Yeah.
shields,
Yep.
you just have massive advantage.
Although I will say I've been playing some more Apex with some of the guys that I play some of the guys that I throw axes with, and pretty much all the shields now are Evo
Yeah,
shields.
I play recently
So
too.
the more damage you do, the better
Yeah,
your shield is, which I am totally okay with that
yeah.
because that it forces you to hunt people down.
In the
You know
fights, and you get rewarded.
exactly. But this so there's blackout. Everyone had a huge issue with that, and then the issue that I think most people have with Warzone is not that the armor, you don't have different tiers of armor.
Yeah,
It's just that sometimes you don't have any armor and the other person apparently has an infinite stash of armor.
yeah.
Whereas a Halo game, everyone is very well versed and very familiar with the shields, like how many kind of hits it takes to get you down, how long it takes to respawn the shield. So if you just left that in the game, left it as is, and that was your shield mechanic,
So you kind of already set.
you're knocking out a huge point of contention that a lot of people have with the BR games. You're taking that completely off the table, and then all you really have to do, and then no one's really going to complain about the movement or the gunplay mechanics because that's been in place for 20 fucking years. You
Yeah,
know what I
like
mean?
what
Like,
you're getting.
yeah,
You can't really be like, oh, how is this gonna play? Like you know what it is.
yeah. And then basically what you have to do from there is make the map traversable based on your limited mobility. Because let's be honest, like a sack of bricks could jump
I feel like you'd
far
have to add,
further than Master Chief can. You know what I mean?
obviously you
Like,
have to add, yeah, you have to add sprint ability. I mean, obviously there's a tactical sprint ability that happened in Halo 4 and whatnot. You just have to
yeah,
just put that as your
yeah,
sprint button because yeah, they just walk very
yeah.
slowly.
So there's the sprint option you can add. You can make the map a little more vertical to get up and down on people. You can add pulse lifts like the jump things. Obviously vehicles. Like, I think it has a good base.
Oh yeah,
And the only problem really is, I'm going to circle back to what I said when Modern Warfare came out, and Warzone hadn't come out yet. I said in one of our episodes, like, why do you have to shove a battle royale and everything? And I kind of feel that way for Halo 2.
yeah,
Why do you got to shove a battle royale into a perfectly good normal
yeah.
game that, it's been around forever and everyone loves? But that's the new hot shit. So they're going to do it. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I would have said the same thing too, but I don't know. The more I think about it, I really feel like they could make an
and
amazing
like the extras, like the shield bubble and stuff like that, makes for cool like plays,
playing
like all
tactical
those
on it.
extra. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I thought that initially, and then yeah, as I've been thinking about it more, I'm kind of like, this could be a good ass fucking battle royale game.
I
Like,
think, yeah, I think, yeah. The more I keep thinking about it, they have so many components to it. They could really make something amazing. So I hope they give it a shot, and it's what we think it could be.
yeah. Speaking of other battle royales, new Fortnite season.
Yep.
I wouldn't say Fortnite's dead. It's dead to me. I don't give a shit about
Yeah.
it. I never really did in general, but like I don't follow a whole lot on it anymore.
Same.
It's not. They're still killing it with events. The whole Avengers story, the whole Avengers season 4.
Yeah, there's the end of
Yeah.
season 4 going into season
Yeah.
5.
So the whole Avengers stuff, like they still know how to put on the best
Yep.
in-game events
Yep.
of any game, of any battle royale game, bar none. Like no
Yep.
other game can touch them. They still can do that. And from what I've heard, a lot of people are really liking the new season too. So like Tilted is back more or less. It's
Slightly,
called
like a quarter, I feel like.
yeah, Salty Tower. Is it called Salty Towers? I think now or something like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Um,
Or Sandy? Yeah, Salty
yeah.
Towers.
And so yeah, I mean, I think the heyday. Well, I think the heyday is past already.
Oh, for
One,
sure.
I think everybody's well aware of that. There's still a lot of people that play it, sure, and there's still a lot of people that watch it on Twitch and other platforms like that. Um, but I think as far as enjoyment of the game, like the people enjoying the game, the streamers especially, I think the heyday, obviously was back when they had all the wind tunnels around the map and they had a ton of
Yeah.
mobility before mechs just flew in and stomped everybody's desire to play the game.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
fun.
so, and I just don't think they'll get back to that point.
No, I mean,
I-
a lot of people are kind of coming back to like Nick Murph and Tim, kind of
yeah, they'll play periodically.
here and there. They say they're enjoying it, and it seems like they are. But a lot of people have already been like, yeah, this new season was fun to begin with, but now I'm bored already. So
I mean, the problem with the game, and it's been this way for a long time, is pacing. I mean, 90% of the lobby is dead in the first circle.
and you're just sat there just roaming because everyone's
Yeah.
just dead because everyone just drops out, and that's
And
about it.
so, the gulag, like something like the gulag, in Call of Duty negates that a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, spreading out the hot areas, making more, I think that's for a lot of Call of Duty's flaws. I think that's one of the things they did well. There's a lot of areas you can jump in Call of Duty and get a lot of money and better guns.
Yeah.
And that has helped them not have the lobbies die out by the time the first circle starts moving. So,
and I mean, like you said, Fortnite is still king of in-game events.
yeah.
I mean, no other game even really tries them. Like, so they're the king slash the only one who really does it, but they still knock it out of the park, and they're still kind of killing it with skins. Like the whole reason why we decided to talk about the new season is because they got skins coming in that I'm just a big fan of. In the Battle Pass, you can get a Mandalorian or Mando, whatever you want to call him, skin. And I think you leveled up. It starts with his base armor. You level it up and it goes to his full Beskar, and you even get a little Baby Yoda trail guy that follows you, which is cool shit. And a God of War bundle is on its way, as well as a Master Chief bundle. So,
see, I don't know how I feel about my beloved Master Chief going to Fortnite.
Well, I mean, it's kind of all the story. Like the whole thing is that
I know
they're trying to. They need the best hunters in the world to
do
something, and it's just that's how they're doing all these polling. But
and I get it, and like I understand, I like it because the storyline is cool, but still, it's like
Halo needs to do remakes or needs to edit their game because everyone laughed at it when it came out. So they need that Fortnite money.
Yeah, I know, right? So I there's definitely things to be hopeful for. I mean, like I said, the game is not dead. I say it's dead, but that's because I never really liked it to begin with.
Well, yeah,
so
it's not dead. It's just it's fallen from just being the king shit to just being back down to the pack, which is nice because it was really annoying those days of Twitch because it's like one, you talk to anyone about it, oh, Twitch, that's where you stream Fortnite. That's all they thought it was.
Yeah.
And two, it's just if you're streaming anything else, people are like, why aren't you playing Fortnite? Why aren't you playing Fortnite? Why aren't you playing Fortnite? And so it's just really nice to see it just come back to the pack and be a level of playing field where you can play anything.
And you know what's also really nice to me is just seeing Ninja's numbers just down. So for anyone who's new, I don't really like Ninja. So, I think he's a douchey, condescending, holier than thou, full of himself individual who likes to think he is the gaming industry because he made some money while streaming. And I mean, and he's not, and I really don't like him. But his numbers have absolutely tanked
I mean,
tanked compared to where he was, and
yeah,
I
they're
think
back
I
to like
think
PUBG numbers basically, like
yeah, exactly.
60,000, I'd say, where,
And I
obviously
mean,
with
it doesn't help him that he's
Fortnite was
playing.
50, 60, 70,000.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help him that he's playing fucking Valorant either. I mean,
That's a very boring game to
like,
watch. It's fun to play, but it's different.
yeah,
It's something different to watch.
100 Thieves just won the first strike
Saw
championship
that.
though.
Heard
Pretty
that.
cool. Pretty
Yeah.
good for a sweater company.
Yeah, it's pretty
uh, yeah. So Fortnite season, if that's your cup of tea, great. Tell us how it is. Let us know in either chat, send us a message, comment on our posts. Let us know, because I'm not a huge fan of it, and I know Matt, it's kind of died off for you too. So, we.
Oh, I will say I might need to jump back in because I've completely forgot slash has been lazy, but I've passed 1,000 followers on Twitch, so I can apply for a creator code for the Fortnite store.
Oh.
So if anyone wants to buy anything in the store, use creator code technique with an underscore at the end because there's no bag with just technique as a thing. So I need to mix it up. So make sure you use that in the creator store, folks. Or
There you go. Yeah.
I honestly, my play was I friend requested Technique on the Epic launcher, and I need to see if he responds. Because if he responds, I'm gonna message him like, "Hey, can I have this name, please? I'm famous. Let me have it."
I'm famous. Yeah. So Fortnite, nothing huge. The new season and didn't do anything crazy, but there's a new season out there. There's a couple new seasons of some games. One that we'll talk about in particular. I'm sure that you can figure out what that is. Avengers.
Oh boy.
Big flop, huh?
Yeah, it hasn't made its money back that it spent to make the game. One and
It's
two,
like 50 million below what it cost just to make the game.
It's in a big hole. That and two, I mean, no surprise because the second part of it, it's lost. Last I heard, it's lost 96% of its player base, which no game ever is gonna live if that happens.
No.
So I mean, I can't say I'm surprised because I enjoyed the game. It was fun to play, but one, it's one of those type of games like Destiny where you need friends to play it with. It makes it better, but even when doing that, it just always felt like something was kind of missing, and you're just kind of doing, it's the classic, do the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
You group up, you drop into an area, you do the mission, you grind to get the loot, and then you come out, and then that's it, and then you just kind of rinse and repeat. It's missing something. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it's just not a wholesome game.
Like I would say missions with like actual content, other than just like go and defend missions.
Yeah, exactly. Go defend, go beat up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Very, very much my major criticism of Destiny 1. One of the reasons why I never really got into it. But yes, I could see that. It's kind of a bummer because like I wanted to get the game.
I mean, imagine Destiny 1 feeling, but like 50% of that it just feels like it's just missing something. I don't know what it is, but it's just missing it.
Yeah, because like I wanted to get the game and I just I didn't end up getting it, and it's kind of sad because I that would be, I would love to play a game that's done well set in that world. Just obviously this is probably not that game. So
hey, like comic book characters are just, I guess you can say, movie based games never do well.
No.
And I had high hopes for this. Obviously I'm a big Marvel fan.
Well, see, I was gonna say,
love the Avengers movies and all the stuff they're doing there, and I was just hoping that, all right, you're killing it on the big screen. Now can we make something badass in the gaming sphere? And
you know what I will say too, totally off target. It's in the same realm as the superheroes. Have you watched any of the DC Titans show?
Oh, I watched like 2 episodes when I was in England with Carly, and because it's on Netflix, I think, over there. But here
it's on Max.
It's only on HBO Max, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
Really good.
The 2 episodes we watched, but now, like we have Netflix here, but it's not on Netflix here. So we
Yeah.
have to go and get an HBO Max account or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked it.
It was, I just finished season 1. It's really good. So for anyone out there, any of you who like superhero shows, DC, they do a really good job.
Sorry, all the Flash and Arrow or what?
But it's
Were good.
darker and grittier and
Oh yeah,
more
I know,
more DC than the
Yeah.
CW
yeah. When I watched
versions.
it, I was like, oh, this shit's dark. Let's go.
Oh yeah, no, it was good. So yeah, little side note. But yeah, I mean it's sad, sad that the Avengers flopped. I mean, I didn't really think Square Enix is like the best option to do that type of game either. I don't know. Like
I don't know.
they're
they have a decent track record. Like they do Final Fantasy games people love. They did the Tomb Raiders, but I mean, I guess that's most of that single player stuff. Maybe I don't know if they really done.
Yeah, we talked about this too, I think.
So maybe multiplayer is not their realm. Maybe they should have just made a baller single player game.
Which honestly probably would have been much better.
I mean, so like I will say that the campaign so far is fun and enjoyable. It gives you, a sense of you're doing something. And then it's just if you go outside doing the campaign, that's when you get to the defend this, beat up this guy, capture this, and that's just
sure.
I can only do it so much.
Perfect. So that's all the smaller things.
I know.
Now we're on to the big daddy part of the show. For anyone who doesn't know, Cold War has been out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like a month, maybe something like that. Whatever, doesn't matter. As promised, the integration between Warzone and Cold War is happening. It was supposed to happen the 10th. I'm pretty sure as they got doing it, they realized, shit, this isn't going to be as easy as we thought it was going to be, and they had to give an extra 6 days, so it got bumped back to the 16th. So season 1 for Cold War. I mean, is it going to be season 7 for Warzone? I'm assuming
too. Like, are they going to put a different season into that game? But then on the Warzone aspect, it has to be.
I would imagine, yeah. So either way, a new season of Warzone's coming, and it's going to be the integration.
Because we don't really play much Cold War. Because everyone was only waiting. Like Cold War is very meh. Everyone was just waiting for how it's going to get into Warzone, which is why everyone's still grinding.
It is very meh, and I will tell you. But if you want to know, we overviewed some of the points in the last episode, so you can go ahead and check that out. But so no surprise in classic COD fashion, it gets delayed. So 6 days. Like I said, I think they did it probably because they realized they couldn't integrate everything as easily as they thought they could.
They're afraid of Cyberpunk a little bit too. Maybe like, oh shit,
possibly,
Could be plenty of hype on that. We want our own day.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. So it promises to be the largest free content drop in the game's history, in Warzone's history. You're having some new operators, obviously. Cypher, I think is the one they mentioned today. Starts with an S. I think it's Cypher, something like that. I was literally just watching a video about it like 2 hours ago, and my memory is absolute trash. So I can't. Either way. So 30 new weapons. So all the Black Ops weapons, all the Cold War weapons are getting put into Warzone. So all the weapons and all the attachments, they're all coming into Warzone.
And attachments, like, are they taking the attachments that you can put onto, like, let's say a Grau?
No. So
or can they only go on to.
So that I don't know, actually. All I do know, and the way I've understood it, is every Black Ops game with their attachments is coming into the game.
Yeah.
So in Warzone, Modern Warfare, every gun has a monolithic suppressor.
Yeah.
Not every gun has a monolithic suppressor or that level of suppressor in Cold War. So
Huh.
there's going to be some interesting balancing problems, in my opinion, because you're going to have a couple situations where there's more than one of the same gun. The XR4 in Black Ops is the M4. It is an M4 essentially. And then you're going to have two
Yeah.
AKs. You have an
Yeah.
AK in Cold War and you have an AK in Modern Warfare. So how are they going to balance
Maybe if
those?
they have different attachments, that's how I guess you'd balance it.
Exactly.
You can build this AK with Modern Warfare stuff, or you can
Well,
build this AK
not
with
so much
Cold
like
War
how
stuff.
they, yeah, I mean, I guess there's that, but like
One's
the
probably gonna be
damage
better
stats
than
are
the other.
obviously different, or the damage
Yeah.
stats have got to be different. So, like, are they going to bring the Cold War AK up to the Modern Warfare AK, or are they going to bring one down? Like,
Yeah.
they have probably a different recoil pattern and different handling feeling. Like, like all these little minute details, like, is something I don't think they really thought of.
I say hopefully they have.
I
Yeah.
mean,
The way they botched some updates and shit like that, the thought of 30 new guns coming into this game and everything running smoothly and just being accurate, I think they're gonna take a big old shit.
the start of every new season always comes with a new meta gun that they didn't really take a hard look at. Every season, Grau, the Bruin, Kilo, you know what I mean? Like,
Oof.
yeah, the Doof Doof, all of those, like every season since the Grau essentially has had that cream of the crop gun
Yeah.
that I think they
Yep.
totally forgot to look at balancing wise. And it just stayed that way. So now to think, yeah, they're going to introduce 30 guns instead of like 2 to 3 guns, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for it
Yeah,
because
I want more weapons.
I yeah,
Oh,
adding these
to
guns.
this a second MP5.
Hopefully, yeah. Oh my god, I didn't think about the MP5 is killer in Black Ops. Like, is it gonna be? That's gonna be weird to see. But I'm hoping with these new guns, two things kind of happen. Like one, they also do some nerfs to guns in Modern Warfare right now. Like they nerf the Doof Doof because that's just getting insane to see. And two, I just hope all these new guns allow for a lot more play styles. Right now, it's you get a shotgun and you kind of post up in a close range area and you just pump them twice and that's it. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping they bring out some nerfs and that these guns can add for a lot more different play styles because like you said, each new battle pass comes out, there is one gun or one I guess play style that's meta and that's what everyone does. So I'm hoping 30 guns can lead to 5 to 6 to 7 play styles that are all equally good and very viable.
Yeah. I agree with you. So the other thing that's kind of interesting is they're syncing progression for everything into one thing. So your one account will be the one level you have between Modern Warfare or Warzone and Black Ops. So you have
Going
one
into the future,
level.
right?
Yeah, going into the future, you'll have, it'll be one battle pass to progress through all that stuff. So it's interesting. I mean, the other big thing that people are hyped for is the map. They, but from all I've seen, it's going to be the island, the Rebirth Island, which is essentially on the same scale as the Alcatraz map from Blackout.
That wasn't a full battle
No,
royale
that
map, was
wasn't.
it?
No, it was like a 40 person. You respawn three. You got three respawns, and after that, you're done basically. So all I've seen as far as map teases is this Rebirth Island, which would probably be different mode. Like I said, not 150 players because it looks about the same as the Alcatraz map, which a lot of people are speculating is probably about the size of downtown. So that's the
Oh, so
thing.
that makes sense because I remember reading it says introducing new Warzone map and mode. I kind of took
Yeah.
those things as two different entities. You get a new Warzone map and a new mode, but now I see they're talking like you're getting a new Warzone map with a new mode because it's probably like you said, it's not going to be. It could be, I guess, a mini royale type thing, or it could
I
be
think,
they
you'll
drop in
spawn
with X amount of
basically.
lives and you
Yeah.
spawn as a team. Which that kind of sucks. I really was hoping for a brand new map for Battle Royale altogether.
Well, so there has been teases and talks, of a new map. And even if they don't give us a brand new map right off the bat, they definitely need to make some significant changes to the current
Exactly.
map.
I was gonna say, like, if we were gonna go into a new map, I was gonna make comments saying that I feel like they really missed out with Verdansk with doing massive changes. They have not, like, what's the biggest thing they've done? They opened up stadium,
Yeah.
they added bunkers where you can get some loot, and
Yeah.
they added a subway
Two
system.
trains, two trains.
That
Above
that
ground
that
train and the subway
oh, true,
system.
yes.
And
That's it, like,
the above ground train is glitched with recon contracts apparently now, where you can get
oh, that's
unlimited.
not actually there?
You can do them all, and basically within the first like minute of the game, you'll be able to
Oh,
see where
Lord.
the ending circle is going to be.
Yeah, so I feel like
And the subway, if you do the little fucking Easter egg thing, will bring you to a goddamn place where you can get your juggernaut drop and you can get so that's why we've been seeing so many juggies. It's not a random spawn. There's an Easter egg thing you go and do, and a lot of people know how to do it. And you go into the train, and it brings you to this bunker. It brings you to the maintenance section of the train,
yeah.
and there's 1,000 orange chests, and you get your juggernaut drop, and then if you're
Oh,
if
Lord.
you're lucky, you can get up to, I've seen up to 2 specialist coins too. So 2 people can get specialists, and they get a ton of money, and they have advanced UAVs like on the ground.
That's
So yeah,
ridiculous. I mean, so
so
yeah, I hope then if they're not, yeah, if we're not getting a new BR map, I hope they do some massive changes to Verdansk, because I feel like they're missing out on opportunities to
I mean,
change large
there's
areas.
a lot of key maps. So that's the thing. I mean, most of the areas are maps, or like
Yeah.
are maps that people, there's a lot of key maps that they have not added. There's high rise, like they need to turn some of downtown into high rise. They don't have the airport map. Like the airport's there, but they don't really have the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they should remodel part of the
Yeah.
airport to be that map from Modern Warfare
I was
2.
just about to say that, kinda like, I didn't know if they're saving maps to
I
match
think
together
they are.
for a new,
Yeah.
bigger battle royale map. If they weren't, I would suggest they need to start taking maps that people love and just start pouring them into
I mean,
Verdansk randomly. Just say, "Fuck it, here,
I,
Boneyard is now
yeah,
Favala," or whatever that what map was called in Modern
yeah.
Warfare 2 that everyone loved.
They should. I mean, that's been the plan. I think. I don't want to say it has been because I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But Raid is supposedly coming. You remember the Raid map?
Yep.
It's the mansion. That they're probably gonna. It was in Blackout, like it was the top like mansion. That was like the Raid map.
Oh, where it's like kind of that big
The 2 mansions,
building.
but
Yeah.
yeah. And like they could bring, remember the old like log cabin mansion?
Estate or something like that. I was just
Yeah,
gonna say,
estate. Yeah,
like, a bunch
estate.
of just big forest areas.
Um,
They just drop a massive estate,
yep,
and they're like, "Here's a state, people."
exactly. There's a lot of dead space in the map that they could put, different maps, different old maps, old multiplayer maps that people love. They could add to Verdansk, and I think that I'm right there with you. If they're not going to give us a brand new map, they definitely need to make some substantial changes to the current map.
Mhm.
I mean, I think really anyone would agree with that. It's the playstyles. It's sort of gotten stale. I'm not playing it every night like I used to, and I'm only really playing it Fridays and Saturdays. And I've actually become much more. I've actually enjoyed the game a lot more lately because of that. And so for that reason, I wouldn't say it's necessarily stale to me, but the where you drop and where you rotate to and where you go and like the pathing you have to take to get to all those places is definitely very stale and very predictable. So I mean, I
Yeah.
think they
I
need to
mean, I
do
feel
something.
like I'm just having the same fights just over and over again.
And the
Sometimes,
mobility, the traversability, not last weekend, but the weekend before, I had a whole fucking night, like Friday night, where I died like 4 different times in the fight, like in the top 2 or 3 teams, because the zone hard shifted somewhere I couldn't get to. And it's like, it just infuriates me that is still an issue, that like they can't code the game to be like, oh, well, I mean, and the problem is all the circles are predetermined
Yeah.
when you load up. So, but there still should be a way to avoid, to take into account, like, say you're on dam and like 99% of the circle is on an unpassable mountain face. The game should know not to do it there. And then the other problem I really have with the fact that that the circles aren't adaptive in my eyes is that, they always seem to push, because people know where they're going to go. They always shift to people camping in houses,
Mm-hmm.
and so, like, there was 3 or 4 games that I played, like Sean and them, where we had like 25 kills as a team. We're just slaying out, and then the zone shifts to 2 houses that have each house has 2 different teams in them, and then there's a team in the field, and all 3 of those teams don't decide to shoot at each other. They just decide to shoot at us, and it's like, what the hell? Like, what do you guys like?
Now, imagine if they somehow were able to raise some funds, let's say $3 million or $1 billion,
$1 billion,
and
yeah.
then they could use that to, do what you said. Maybe
I know.
code so a zone doesn't do that, or maybe fix some errors they have. Change the audio a little bit. Just imagine if
Just
such a
imagine.
thing could be. Oh wait, that didn't happen. COD made
Yeah.
$3 billion in a year, and they're
Less
still
than a
having
year. Well,
yeah.
2020.
And
Yeah.
still have plenty of issues that I feel like they can now just throw money at it, like, here, fix this. But
I know. They should be. I mean, that's what they should be doing.
To have that much money made, this thing should be the most polished game out there, I feel like, and I still feel like it has some of the most crazy and insane bugs I've ever heard of in my life.
Mm-hmm. Infinite Juggernauts, man. We seen that one?
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But
I played with Sean. I was playing with Sean like Monday night because I needed to finish my battle pass. It was like Sean and Tim got on, and Sean's like, I don't know, it was like 10:30, and which was surprisingly early for him, for the dock one. And he was like, "Yeah, the minute I see the Infinite Juggernaut glitch, I'm going to bed." I was like, "Really?" I haven't seen it. I haven't been in a game with it, but I have seen it, yes, but I haven't been a part of it. So
I can only imagine it's not a fun time.
No, not at all. And then I guess the final thing, we kind of both had thoughts on this, a new Gulag experience. I think the Gulag was revolutionary when it first came out, and it sounds stupid saying that, but it was. I mean, it was the first time something like that had been implemented in a battle royale game, and it was a really cool idea. And for the most part, it operates really well, except for certain facets like stun grenades and flash grenades and the fucking Gulag or sniper rifles. I'm okay with just about everything except for your like DMR sniper rifles and flashbangs.
I was about to say, the more I was with you on sniper, well, they made the change where I hated when they had a full zoom scope, and now they're using small, like 3-to-buy scopes. When snipers are first in the Gulag, I was with you saying, I hate these. This is the worst. But the more I play it, I enjoy using snipers. What I hate now is full auto weapons. Like when it's ARs and SMGs, I want to just rip my eyeballs out because it's so annoying. People walk up, they'll mount on a wall and just hang out there and just laser you. And you could probably do the same thing, but they'll get a lucky spray and get a headshot. Where sniper, I think, is what the Gulag kind of supposed to be. You outplay, outskill this person, and you can win, and you can go back to the Warzone. So
a lot of people just kind of hold the lane, though. And but I think I can get there faster, and I peak there, and
you're aim down the lane. Whereas with a full auto AR, some people just spray and pray and they get you. Whereas you can't spray and pray with a sniper.
I mean, I get that, and that's a valid point, and I can see that being true. I've died so much more in the Gulag now with snipers than I have with any other weapon.
Oh, really?
I mean, realistically, for me, honestly, what I like the most is shotguns and pistols. Like that is the Gulag. Shotguns, pistols, no tacticals, and really the only thing I would give for lethal is a throwing knife.
So I think my like perfect mixture, I say go pistols and snipers like together as a thing. That's like kind of those are like the skill guns, I say.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, with you on stuns, those are absolutely useless, and not useless, but those are absolutely a
They
pain
destroy you.
in my ass to
Yeah.
run into.
But outside of like the guns that they offer you, I think, and I think you're with me, there needs to be changes to the concept as a whole. Um, some thoughts I had, no capture the flag, because a lot of people just wait it out
Yeah,
and
that's
they
one
camp,
fix I think they should throw in right now, and I
you
think people
know,
would be happy.
yeah, no flag. It's kill or be killed. Because I mean, that's the biggest problem. So the biggest problem in the Gulag, which is a microcosm of what the biggest problem in the game is that kids play like absolute fucking vaginas.
Mhm.
Like spineless human beings. It's a video game. It's not real life. You're not going to die in real life. Go push fights. Do something. Don't just sit there. Like you're never going to get better at the game. You may get some wins out of it, but you're never going to get better at the game. You're never going to enjoy the game. Stats don't matter. If you think that you can pick up girls because you've won 400 games of Call of Duty or you have a 2.5 KD, then you're fucking idiotic. That's not ever going to happen. There's no valid use for those stats as far as bragging to people about them. So it's like, why care about them? You know what I mean? Go and fight people. And that's the biggest problem I have in the actual in Verdansk as a whole, and that's a huge problem I
Dude,
have with the
real,
Gulag is people
yeah.
just camp the back, they prone or they mount up, and it's just like infuriating.
Real quick, I played. I was playing some games earlier with Mize, and the one game was like in the final circle. We ran into a house. They had 4, I'd say, proxy mines on the ground, all on the ground floor. They're all upstairs with a trophy system going on. So like you just couldn't do anything. You walk in, it's just proxy mines going off. You can't throw anything upstairs because it was just locked down. And I'm like, I hate people.
It's so bad. Yeah, well, we had Sean and I and Tim ran into a situation where like there was a juggernaut holding a TV station and there was a car driving around. So I thought maybe the car was trying to kill the juggernaut.
Yeah.
And then there was a third guy. Turns out they were all part of a team. The car's driving around, kind of distracting people. The juggernaut was there to clean up anybody. And then basically the one kid that killed Sean was proned in a bush proned on his own proximity mine. So if anyone walked over him, it'd blow. And it was just like,
solid.
That's how you play. That's how you play this game. Like, do you enjoy this game?
Yeah, it's like you cannot have fun doing what you're doing. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
People?
So kill or be killed, no flag. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yep,
and then basically do a similar. I would say reduce some the gun pool, take away stuns and all that shit too.
Yeah.
Something else I thought about that would be really cool is to slide more towards the Black Ops thing and do like, take like a medium round, like volume wise of zombies. And if you survive the round, you get to respawn. My 2 things I hate the most in Warzone are those pussy campers and hackers. And the thing I hate the absolute most is dying to a hacker in the actual game in Verdansk and dying to a hacker in the Gulag.
Yep.
So if you take out the player-to-player interaction in the Gulag, I think that would be interesting and maybe worth a test, like worth a try. Obviously, it would be done internally from their end first before it gets developed and put out large scale. But like, I just think that would be kind of cool. Like you basically go to a small map, and you try to survive. You get like a kind of like a base gun, kind of like what they give you. And the goal is to survive the wave of zombies. No, I don't know. It would have to be developed in such that it can be done relatively quickly. Because
thinking if it could make games very long.
Yeah.
If the wave is too big or something like that.
Yeah. So I think that zombies idea has potential though because that's the whole, they're incorporating Black Ops. So why not incorporate a little bit more Black Ops and slide something, like that into the game? Or, and this is, if they want to do the whole zombies thing, do like what Blackout did. locations on the map have the zombies, and the zombies
Yeah.
drop really powerful stuff, strong weapons and things like that too. That's also a possibility. But yeah, I think that those were the two that I kind of came up. I really do like yours. So why don't you
Oh yeah, real
let
quick.
everybody
I
clue
would say,
everybody
yeah,
in
I think
onto
your
the
zombie,
masterpiece?
my master plan. Yeah, it's real quick. I think your zombie idea is kind of cool. I think they should, with the success of Zombie Royale, I think there's a demand to incorporate zombies a little bit more into Warzone. So I think they would look for some way to do it, and the Gulag could be the perfect place to start with. So
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Mine, I just was sitting there, it randomly popped in my mind. Just change it from 1v1s to uh, team fights. So you die, you still go to the Gulag, but you kind of sit there in the waiting period until your entire team dies. Say, your duos, trios, or quads. You got to wait for all your teammates to die. Then they come to the Gulag with you, and then you do team fights, 2v2s, if it's duos, 3v3s, 4v4s. Last team standing wins, and everyone redeploys. Uh, Obviously, again, that you could run into games being long and people in gulag. Say if you die first in your team, but your team wipes whoever killed you, you could be sat there waiting for a long time. It could be kind of boring. But with
Yeah.
buyback stations and all the money that's out there, you'll either get bought back real quick or your team will die and they'll be there fighting with you.
Well, so the problem with the buyback is you can't buy back until you've lost in the gulag. Like even if you're just sitting there waiting, you can't.
I guess just change that. Just
Yeah.
if someone's in the pool of the gulag, you're able to be accessed.
Yeah. I think the way I really like that idea. I thought that when I saw that, I thought that was a great idea.
Well,
I think the way
2v2 gunfights, those are really
Yep.
fun to do. So kind of take that experience, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, and just move it into the. I think they can do it pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I think the way they mitigate that is like that's the game is coded so that's the preferred method. If one of your other teammates dies, you instantly get dropped into a 2v2 with someone else. Or if you go past a certain time limit,
do it random with someone else that's in the gulag.
Well, that you could do that too. I didn't even think about that. That would be interesting. Just take 4 random people. No, I was saying like say you're the first one to die, and your teammate, your thought is you drop into a quad, so the game has to wait for all 4 players to go in. But instead of just having that be the requirement, say you went in as a quad. You die first. The minute your next teammate dies, you and him instantly get dropped into a duo. And then, if everyone dies at the same time, I mean, you could have that quad option open. But then the other thing too is if a teammate hasn't died in say like 3 minutes, you automatically it queues you into a 1v1. Like, I think that would still be, I think they'd still have to have that option to keep the time limit, the time spent in Gulag lower.
You could either queue into that or just kind of there's a timer. If X amount of your team doesn't die to join you,
you become viable at that point. If you
that
want.
too, yeah. I think they should do it that way.
Or they drop you into the randoms. I think the randoms. I didn't even think about that, but I think the randoms is kind of a cool idea.
That'd be kind of interesting to see, just kind of going into a 2v2 with your partner being some other random dude.
I mean, because that's the whole idea, the prison. You're trying to get both. You're going to be in prison with other people.
People you never thought you would be able to make alliances with.
So yeah, I think there are changes to be had in both the map and the Gulag, and I think
the map for sure. They need to if they're giving you a brand new,
I think they need to
map with this update. They need to do some large changes. I feel like
it definitely, the map and the Gulag, I think definitely need to be looked at like pretty hardcore. I mean, if they haven't already been doing it, my guess is hopefully they have, or my guess, my hope is they have. And yeah, I mean, I think that's really important because it has gotten really stale. Both aspects, the map and the Gulag. So, yeah, I think that's that, and then operators and skins. And I mean, I would still like to see maybe a new modern warfare weapon or two. Even though we're having 30 new weapons dropped in, I like the more modern weapons, even though Black Ops and Modern Warfare is time-wise is not too far removed from each other. So, yeah, I think I doubt they'll do it because they're putting so many new
Yeah, they're probably just gonna
guns
make all
in.
these those and call it good.
But I mean, I think this season has a lot of potential for a lot of that extra free stuff. You know, new
Yeah, for
weapons,
sure.
the operator. You know, if they incorporate new skins for the vehicles, maybe a new vehicle too. I mean, that may be cool. I've also heard the score streaks potentially might like new score streaks are maybe coming as well. So like the RCXD and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that. I say a few
Yeah.
episodes back. We're talking about things you could add into the store to buy to change
Yep.
the play style up. And yeah,
Yeah.
I still stand by that. There's a lot of things you could add into to purchase that can
Yep.
be helpful. So that'd be cool to see.
So we will have to see. It's literally 7 days away, so a week at this point. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, you guys are playing it, enjoying it. I mean, like I said, I've been enjoying COD more lately now that I'm not playing it every single day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's that. And then so you're trying to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yeah, I just been doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke run as well, and just some people know that Nuzlocke basically there's like two main rules you got to stick to. One, if a Pokemon faints, they essentially die. You can't use them again. And two, whatever first encounter you have in a new area, that's the only Pokemon you can catch, and
Yeah.
that's it. You can't catch anything else unless you run into a shiny. You can catch a shiny, which I did, but then my shiny died last night.
Oh no.
I lost two Pokemon. My shiny died, and my Charmander died.
Damn.
You got back in the party though. You were my Chimchar, so
Yep.
I needed a replacement fire Pokemon. So
I'm back in. I'm back in, baby. Yeah, I think I thought that was cool. I mean, I was watching you stream it the other night, and like
it's just a fun
we
way.
talk a lot
Obviously,
about first person shooters.
tough at all. It's just a fun way to make them tough.
No, exactly. And I thought it would be fun to talk about it a little bit too, because we do talk about so many first person shooter games and stuff like that, throwing in some of that. So you've got the Nuzlocke, but I recently discovered the Pokemon Revolution or whatever it's called. Hold on, I'm trying to look for it.
I think it's called that. I have it somewhere too. Wait, what is
this?
The client, but yeah, I think it's Revolution is what I looked up.
Jesus, thought I had it like. Oh yeah, PRO client.
Yeah, this is Pro client.
So like click into it. Yeah, damn, I don't have the time to find it. Yeah, I think it's like Pokemon Revolution Online. It's a pretty cool, like developed individually or independently developed Pokemon MMO, which I think is pretty cool. So I kind of started playing that.
So yeah, I need to jump into
I thought that was interesting because I definitely, like, I saw you playing Nuzlocke, and I got the itch for emulators for ROMs, because like there's so many good Pokemon ROMs out there.
Well made.
Yeah, and like ones that just add like hours and hours and hours in storyline, like Pokemon Glazed is like there's one of them. I don't know if it's Pokemon Glazed, but there's one ROM where basically you have to get 16 badges. You have to do badge 8 badges in 2 different regions before you can go to like the final 4 and whatever. And there's like an actual like story behind everything too, on top of just the badges. So and they usually always include all the Pokemon. As much as I loved Sword and Shield, they missed the mark in my opinion. And like it's weird that
I can like DLCs.
No, I know, but like it still wasn't big enough, and it still wasn't, and it wasn't hard enough either. And so like I get the weird, like strangely enough, I get the itch scratched with these old Game Boy Advance like ROM hacks, because they do a good job. Yeah,
sometimes like the trainers, like they're coded to act smart, and like they use potions and status
instead of leer 1,000 times.
I mean, hey, it still works though. Sometimes you got to throw the stats out there, and then they'll come at you with a strong attack. So at least they use leer and then follow up with something instead of just using it over and over and over again.
Sure.
But yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We have touched on everything we wanted to talk about, all the info to bring to you lovely people out there, all the things we think that you should know. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to circle back to it. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you guys want to rate us and review us on Podchaser, if you're into that kind of thing, great. If you rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, that also is awesome too. But again, not a requirement in any way, shape, or form. If it's something you enjoy doing, if rating and reviewing is something you do frequently, I know me personally, I'm not that type of person. Then that's great. Give us a rate, give us a review. Let us know if we're good or bad. Even bad. Constructive criticism is always helpful as well. You can also follow us on all of our social media platforms. Literally everything is at W_key_podcast. Our Twitter, our Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Well, YouTube's not underscore, but it's just W Key Podcast. And our Trovo, D Live, all that stuff is all W_key_podcast. So go ahead, follow us on those areas, hit us up on all of those different ones. I'm starting to get a little bit better at getting info, getting material out on the social media platforms. So I'm working harder at that, or working more at that. I wouldn't necessarily say harder, but working more on that. Trying more on that. And then same idea as what I mentioned earlier on, word of mouth referrals, really, really helpful. So if you do know anyone, obviously we're coming up to the Christmas time. A lot of people with family, you have drives home, long drives back, or you just can't bear spending time with your family members at all. Listen to us, let other family members know, those cousins that also hate being around their family members. You guys can all kind of be in the corner listening to podcasts at the same time. So let a family member, let a friend know, spare them the agony of having to listen to their crazy uncle talk all the time, by giving them the gift of us. We are on every major podcast platform. So if you do have someone in mind, let them know. Just say you can find them anywhere. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google, all of them. I mean, I'm like having a hard time. Pandora, Stitcher, TuneIn, literally everywhere. We're like everywhere. So if you have a hard time finding us, I would say it's more of a you problem and not so much of an us problem.
That's a you dog.
And then, other than that, my social media is really just, my Twitter is at JFrosty. So my name is right there on the screen, just at JFrosty. I don't really use my Twitter all that much. I retweet a lot of stuff from the show's Twitter page. I kind of do everything for the show. But Matt, why don't you hit them with your socials and then we can get up out of here.
Technique on Twitter, as you see there. Technique on Twitter, Technique TV on Instagram, and then we stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Technique, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at night. So yeah, we'll be live tomorrow. Well, if you're watching live stream, but we'll be live Wednesday night, and then obviously Thursday, Cyberpunk drops, and my wife is buying it for me for Christmas, so we will be streaming a special one on Thursday for the release of Cyberpunk.
Nice. Perfect. Well, again, everyone, thank you for stopping by. If you've hung out with us at all during the live stream on any of the platforms, DLive, Trovo, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, wherever you may be watching, we really do appreciate all the support. We appreciate everyone who swings by for these streams, and we appreciate everyone who listens to the audio only version when we drop it. If you're catching the tail end of this on the live version, you can check us out on all major podcast platforms. Like I mentioned earlier, the episode will drop Thursday morning, super early, like 1:00 in the morning. So it's ready for you for consumption. If you're still driving to work, all that stuff, it's ready for you right then and there for your drive. So other than that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate everything. And always remember, you can't spell win without W.